What's going on, guys? This is Drake Shot Plays, and I'm coming at you with another awesome video today. We are going over Casey DeFreitas. She just went over IGN first Monster Hunter Wilds, the final preview video. It goes over the evolution of Monster Hunter, and she's a fellow Gen 1er, just like myself. I've been playing this game for 20 years as well, since PS2, and it's nice to hear her opinions on things, so I'm very happy to hear that. And also her Sword and Shield gameplay is pretty top notch, so just want to shout out to her. We had this little miscommunication on Twitter where I thought she was the one using the greatsword, but she gladly confirmed that it wasn't her using the greatsword, it was actually a dev. So thank God, because the greatsword gameplay, I'm sorry dev, wasn't the best. But I'd be happy to teach you if you like to learn. I'm always happy to help people learn a new weapon or get better with their weapon. I'll be doing it in Monster Hunter Wilds beta as well, February 6th, and I'm already doing it in Monster Hunter Iceborne. But let's jump into the video, guys. I'll be pausing it and giving you my opinion on certain things, so let's get it started. And please ignore the sound in the back. I got a heater on in here. It's cold in Colorado. Pipes are freezing and stuff. Anyways, let's get into the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into it.
On day 3 of my visit to Capcom in Osaka, Japan, I once again sat in a dimly lit conference room. I was playing Monster Hunter Wilds, empty cans of coffee and tea strewn around my station. "You must be tired of being stuck in here playing," said a friendly employee. And all I could think was, I wish I could play more.
How can a Capcom employee say, you're tired of playing? Do you not know how dedicated these 20-year-old veterans are to the video game franchise? Let me tell you something. 6 hours is not enough. I put 18 hours into the beta, just testing every single weapon. That's not including what I did in helping people helping people with Ray Dow, just helping teach people their weapons, like stuff like that. So anyways, 18 hours in the first beta. So I just want to say that's crazy that the dev even said that to her, because I would have been like, can I live here? Chatacabra, hold on. Chatacabra needs to have a G rank variant that slaps us. I mean slaps us, punishes us, because he is the punching dummy of all of Monster Hunter. And it's not okay, because one thing I will say, Chatacabra is such a cool design and he deserves a lot more respect, and I think he should get a variant, a subspecies, a deviant, whatever you want to call it, or even an elder dragon. I want to see something like this, but different, that just slaps us, absolutely beats us into the ground. Kind of like the Frostfang Barioth. A lot of people got used to fighting it, but when we first started fighting it, we were expecting just a Barioth, and we got carded several times. So just wanted to put that out there. Chatacabra deserves redemption.
First 5 hours of Monster Hunter Wilds story and hunted 4 monsters in the Oriole Basin in a different playstate.
Oh man, a Jarkon.
There are so many nuances to master with the new weapon and gameplay features, and I'm the type of person who wants to figure out exactly how everything works through repetition and experimentation. I am a guides writer. It comes with the territory. But because of my limited time, I needed to focus on the main story. That's fine. After this hands-on, I know I'll enthusiastically spend hundreds more hours in the game once it's out. I beelined it through the story to make sure I could see everything I could, and in doing so, I crafted and upgraded only what I could as I went.
Alrighty.
That's the basic loop of Monster Hunter. Hunt monster, make better equipment, hunt stronger monster, and sometimes hunt something multiple times to get what you need. With my minimal preparation, I hunted the first 7 monsters: Chatacabra, Kamatrice, Congalala, Lalabarina, Balahara, Dashaguma, and finally a repel quest for the Leviathan, Uthduna, without much trouble and never once carded.
Nice.
When I played Monster Hunter World for the very first time, even Tobi-Kadachi gave me trouble, so I was surprised to encounter such little friction while playing Wilds. I was actually so surprised that I went back and replayed the story in Monster Hunter World through Anjanath, the 7th large monster. Well, the answer is, I've just gotten a whole lot better since I first played World, even though by that point I had been playing Monster Hunter since the very first one on PlayStation 2.
Fellow Gen 1er.
I easily ripped through everything in World up to Anjanath, who then made me sweat a bit before I defeated it on my first try. It's funny because I felt the same as when I played Monster Hunter Rise. I thought to myself, this feels so much easier, and in some ways this could be because of the...
Well, I will say, she's about to say it, but wire bugs made Rise too easy. And the animation, the whole anime, just all-out barrage attacks were just overpowered. A lot of these moves were just ridiculous, these skill wire moves. So what I will say is, as much as I love Rise, it's not something to compare to, because one, as Monster Hunters, we get better with every weapon. When I first started, I could only use the greatsword, and on the PS2, here's the funny thing: the PS2, the problem wasn't the monster itself. The problem was the dang controls of the camera. I couldn't get a combo out with any other weapon better than with the greatsword, so I just stuck with it. But I tried all the others, and I just stuck with greatsword. Now, once Monster Hunter Freedom Unite came across my desk when I was still in school, I decided, hey, this is the game. The longsword, the hunting horn, all of it. I ended up loving them all, and I ended up playing them all. And then once Monster Hunter Tri came out, I just picked up the switch axe because it was just one extra weapon. So, and that's how it's went progressively through the main series. So what I'll say is, yes, I main all weapons, but it's mainly because I like to keep things interesting. I like to have fun, and sometimes it's fun just, the best way to describe it is the arena. If you ever hunt in the arena, sometimes you don't get the weapon that you main. And the people that I've played with that only main one weapon, they cart 6 out of 7 times. And what I mean by that is they're so used to just one weapon that now they're out of their comfort zone. And this shouldn't be a problem. But I understand it's very hard to overcome that first weapon that you get used to maining. But once you do, the sky is the limit. You can make so much fun, like gameplay, like greatsword hunting the Kirin with quick sheath and focus, and just hunting a horn. That's the best. That's the best way to describe it. And Orochi Kirin better come back. But what I will say is Monster Hunter Rise has nothing to do with these, because the wire bugs made everything so trivial, and the Palamutes made everything so trivial. Those two together made Monster Hunter Rise just like a breeze. Like, you could just easily speed run the game. It was the fastest, easiest thing to do. So just want to shout out that. Let her continue talking.
The fun, zippy wire bug mechanic and other factors, but that feeling was largely due to my increased skill as a player after 600 hours in World and Iceborne. That's not to say I'm now some pro-level Monster Hunter. I'm certainly no speedrunner, but I've improved enough to notice. I'm bringing this up because I often see this lamentation in the community,
that was slick,
perhaps
bow
is
work.
Monster Hunter simply getting easier? I would suggest that we may just be growing into better hunters. Things are certainly becoming more streamlined and accessible, see optimal health and status recovery, and the focus mode that makes it easier to aim, but the developers' goals don't suggest they intend to make Monster Hunter easier. Monsters have been adjusted to account for the new focus and wound systems, and the art director and executive director of Wilds, Kaname Fujioka, said the difficulty in Wilds generally follows suit from World. Series producer Ryoza Sugimoto added, "We've been incredibly careful in Wilds to guide players to the fun of Monster Hunter without changing the core of the series. and I very much feel that.
Thank God that she feels that, because let me say, Monster Hunter should be tough. You're a normal human. You're not a superhero, even though we take no fall damage. But what I mean by that is, you're still a normal person using a special weapon to hunt monsters. But the thing is that difficulty in Monster Hunter should be a good thing, but it should also be accessible for players. And sometimes that's why I always tell people, the solo community that just thinks soloing a monster is like the only thing that matters. What I will say to that is, go play Elden Ring, because Monster Hunter is a community too, and the community is, the way I've always looked at it as a veteran, is let's help the new people. And I've done that ever since the very first multiplayer game. The best thing that I'll say is that as a veteran, you have the ability to help people, and I really enjoy doing that. Sometimes I'll only be hunting in a certain rank. Like, for example, I'll be helping people low rank. I'll be helping people a high rank, or master rank even. But the thing is I don't carry them, I help them. Meaning, okay, well, he's not even attacking the horn. Well, I'll hit the horn so at least he gets that part. And then when we kill the boss, I'll say, hey, next time, break the horns. I'll have that loaded in my chat key shortcut. And I'll say, hey, next time, break the horns, you get better materials. So as a veteran of the franchise, I will say it is our duty to help these people. Not all of them are asking for help, mind you, and that's okay too. Sometimes the silent help is the best, meaning, hey, I'm here, I'll help you. Here's a life powder. You're about to die, life powder. Or, you know, the best thing that I can say is there's different ways to help people without having to carry them. That way they feel like they still did the hunt themselves, and that's the best thing. Let's continue.
Wilds immediately directs players into the meat of what Monster Hunter really is: hunting large monsters that could be set-piece bosses in other games. The main missions smoothly integrate many small monster hunts and gathering as part of the story, which is a wonderful way to teach players about these necessary activities
Wilds
without
looks
them
so
feeling
good.
like a roadblock.
If it's honey,
It really does.
I know the perfect spot.
I admit I'm conflicted about all of these upgrades. I find myself always wanting to
that
pull
was
a
a
back
sweet
in my
dodge.
day and describe some archaic, ludicrous thing we used to have to do just to get by to be able to enjoy the game. Like delivering explosive powder stones from the top of a volcano
Gravios.
while avoiding Gravios and Io Prey, and then doing it 3 more times because the quest didn't count as cleared unless you were the one who posted it and your whole party of 4 needed to clear it to join the next quest.
Yeah, I hated that. But it was also fun. It helped you get better equipment faster.
A long way, and
'Cause
making
you hunted
less
it 4
convoluted and
times.
stripping away its non-essential bits and pieces has made it more palatable to a much larger crowd. Now it's largely just delectable meat with the occasional bone and dessert. There are no bitter vegetables to
Go
power through to
Stacy.
be able to enjoy
Not so-
everyone's favorite
it's
parts.
not
except
so
maybe
Stacy.
grinding for a
It's
specific
Go
material.
Stacy. Not so tasty.
And while on one hand I'm overjoyed that so many people have grown to truly enjoy something I love, there was something about being one of the few who prided themselves on eating their vegetables with a smile on their face. Even so, the evolution of Monster Hunter has continued to impress me. The nostalgia I have for how things used to be doesn't cloud my judgment enough to make me misremember how I actually felt more often than not about needing to gather dozens of mushrooms and herbs and wyvern eggs before I could just finally hunt. This is
The wyvern egg in the first game, that key quest, oh my god, Rathalos was making me so angry. I hated that mission. I got better at it once I found out the shortcut on the cliffs, but you gotta watch how you fall down, or else you just destroy the egg, and it's just Rathalos omelets all over the place.
tedious, and my god, please just let me kill a monster.
The Bullfongo just takes her
Wilds
down.
delivers the thrill of hunting a monster faster than ever before. The main story immediately spits you into the thick of things. And you'll have hunted your first large monster in the first 20 minutes after customizing your character in Palico. There are no Kessedon kerfuffles to contend with. You are one of the chosen hunters to protect your fleet from the big bads, and so that's what you do.
You're okay now.
The action of these monster hunting quests are seamlessly woven together with narrative tasks that drive the story and exciting cutscenes that drop you right into the fray.
We'll meet up later.
Travel is often accompanied by NPCs who progress the story with dialogue, so little time is wasted.
Oh, wow, that's
The entire
awesome.
experience feels full and is structured like a more traditional RPG, as you aren't posting quests from a board and loading into a map like in previous Monster Hunters. At the same time, you still have robust freedom to explore and discover things on your own without having your hand held. I'll need to play more to discover exactly how the new decoration system and ingredient farming work, but it does appear you'll still need to keep up on eating and inventory management yourself to be the best hunter you can be. I do hope there are challenges ahead that will require adequate preparation to succeed, as that's where I think Monster Hunter shines its brightest. But I do believe I may
Totally agree. Whenever you have to actually prepare for a monster, my favorite example, Alatreon in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Alatreon has a couple conditions you have to meet. You have to hit an elemental DPS check, and you also have to break horns. If you don't do that, Eschaton Judgment will melt you immediately. Your health bar just goes like that. So what I will say is the preparation is key, okay? So Greatsword doesn't put out as much elemental damage. But if you're a stubborn person like myself, even though I can main all weapons, what I'd do is I'd take that greatsword and I would modify my equipment set for pure ice attack. Like I think I had 600 or 700 ice attack. With the tuna sword plus those skills, you're doing the damage that you need to, even solo. So what I will say is preparation is key, and I love that she points that out. Let's
have
go.
encountered at least one of those in the Oil Well Basin.
I think these might be tracks.
We discussed the Oil Well Basin and the 4 monsters I hunted there at length in
Man,
our interview with the
Rompopolo's
developers. But to summarize,
fugly.
Rompopolo, Ajarakan, Gravios, and the area's apex, the Black Flame New Udra, inhabit the Oil Well Basin, which is designed to be more vertically connected rather than the more horizontally laid out windward plane.
Okay, so New Udra better have weapons and armor that is similar to the Savage Devilho. What I mean by that, it doesn't need to be as strong. What I'm saying is, I want the weapons to irradiate that black flame aura. Like, I want the longsword to be on fire. Kind of like how the Savage Devilho longsword is always on fire, or all of its weapons pretty much. But I want something like that, maybe even on the armor. I think it'd be really cool and really fun to see these unique designs, because the slap on weapons are gone from Monster Hunter World Iceborne. All the slap on monsters, throw them in the trash bin because we don't need them. We got unique designs for all the monsters, and I'm so happy to hear that from the directors.
Plains and Scarlet Forest. Though it's filled with lava and mucky oil silt, it's inspired by the deep sea and the inhabitants of the ocean floor. This is much more apparent during the Plenty, especially at night, where deep into the Oil Well Basin takes on an ethereal blue hue to contrast its muddy palette during the fallow and the bright, burning red-oranges of the fire spring. The change in climate sometimes made me feel like I was in
awesome.
an entirely different place. And this was even more pronounced
Oh,
in the
look at
Oil
that
Well Basin.
ecology there,
the appearance
guys.
even changes quite drastically
This
from
is so
day to night,
awesome.
which add even more variety to these vast,
Endemic
large,
life.
diverse maps, meant to be 2 to 2.5
10 out of
times
10
the size
game.
of the maps and
Easily.
world. I feel like I barely got
Game
a
of the
handle
year.
on the layout of the Oil Well Basin while hunting, and will likely need to make a concerted effort to learn its flow and remember where things are, like the very helpful environmental traps.
Ooh, yeah.
As for the monsters I faced there, they were a unique and impressive bunch. Rompopolo is absolutely grotesque and makes great use of its
Fugly.
environment by injecting gas into the ground to cause large explosions that bubble up from beneath the oil silts. When I beat it down enough, it deflated, a hilariously sad sight I was delighted to experience. I can see Ajarakan giving some players a bit of
Gross.
trouble. It's an ape-like fang beast that's aggressive, fast, and strong. It also just
Rajang, sit down on the bench. We don't need you in this game. Not till at least Master Rank. A Jarkon is what I want that to be. We don't need Rajang in every Monster Hunter. It's crazy.
Looks cool. How its body glows
Even though
when
I
it gets
love the
ramped
Super
up is
Saiyan monkey.
magnificent, as is one of its strongest attacks, which looks kind of like a fiery Sonic the Hedgehog homing attack. Though Gravios, a returning monster, has been a pain in the ass to fight in previous games with its hardy HP pool and super tough defenses, I found fighting it in Wilds much more enjoyable.
Oh my god, I'm so glad to hear that. She doesn't mention Mind's Eye, but you can see she has white sharpness, so you shouldn't need Mind's Eye. But man, I'm so happy to hear that, because all of us love Gravios, but let's be honest. Gravios was the first one with the wounding mechanic, where you could break open its chest so then you can actually cut into it better. But Gravios was a pain in the butt to fight. It really was, especially if you didn't have good sharpness. Like if you didn't have more than blue, like say you only had a green weapon sharpness, like that was your max sharpness, you ain't cutting through it. You're just bouncing off and getting hit all the time. So I think a lot of us, like, we were so happy to see Gravios return, and I'm happy for it for nostalgic reasons. I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I'm glad to hear that it's easier to fight, because man, it was just awful.
Its hitboxes are more finely tuned, and the developers were able to gradate the toughness of its body more specifically, so it was easier to land hits on the points I actually wanted to get at.
Ooh, beautiful
I also
tail
didn't get
cut.
hit by
Nice,
seemingly unfair
Casey.
hit checks, which was a welcome change.
Let's go.
Gravios is a new attack the devs were happy to be able to implement too. A beam focused on the ground that turns the immediate surroundings into molten rock that persists with a fiery effect for a few seconds. When it comes to the Apex New Udra, wow, that thing is awesome, and it also really threatened to kick my ass. It's the only monster that carded me during my playtime with Wilds, and I had the hardest time getting a read on its movements and intentions.
Oof.
New Udra is an octopus-like cephalopod that uses a skeleton entirely.
So a cephalopod should be able to move its arms, however. Now, when I was watching the gameplay on this monster, New Udra, the tentacles while you're mounted are trying to get you off of it, which I think is a really cool mechanic. Let her continue.
Fairly new to the Monster Hunter series, so of course I wouldn't have any familiarity to rely on. Its tentacles can all move independently of each other, and it hits hard. Its unpredictable, multi-directional attack patterns seem to encourage teaming up with friends, or at least NPC support hunters too. New Udra is uniquely beautiful. The sensory organs on the tips of its tentacles glow when it intends to use them in an attack, and occasionally covers itself in oil silt and engulfs itself in flames.
Ooh, nice.
Another cool use of the environment by an oil well basin inhabitant.
See,
One of its
right here, the
attacks
Greatsword
even
gameplay was
resembles a dangerous
awful
fireworks
that the
display.
dev was doing in this fight.
Truly, New Udra is an impressive sight to behold. A slithering, octopus-like,
So I
menacing
do
creature
apologize,
engulfed in
Casey, for
flames,
calling
hell-bent
you
on your
out,
destruction.
thinking that you were the one that did it. It was a
I'm
dev
really
that did
looking
it.
forward to how this creature is incorporated into Monster Hunter
Your
Wilds
gameplay
story,
is
too.
top-notch.
I had no real
They need
context around
work
the
on
monster
their
hunts in my
Greatsword.
time
That's
in
all
the
I'll say.
Oilwell Basin, as I could only really experience the hunts themselves after the quest start and before the quest complete screen. So all I can really tell you is that the monsters I fought in this build were high rank, as well as my equipment. The builds I played in graphics mode on the PS5 also performed significantly better than the open beta test. The monsters and environments acted
Glad
as
to
they
hear
were
it.
meant to, for the most part, and I didn't experience any jarring graphical issues or bugs. This comes with the caveats that I was offline playing in single player, and that I personally probably wouldn't notice if there was a small graphical stutter while fighting for my life. But if you're in it for the gameplay, I can confidently say that Monster Hunter Wilds works well and looks good, in my opinion. I'm especially impressed by the fire and lava effects I saw in the oil well basin.
Glad to hear it, Casey. This is awesome. Good job.
One of my biggest curiosities is how Wild's story progression will work in multiplayer, as it's one of the best parts about Monster Hunter and something I haven't been able to experience.
Finally, another veteran that admits it. Hunting with friends and making friends is what Monster Hunter is all about, guys. It's the best, man. So I just want to say thank you so much, because yes, all veterans should take a look back and say, no, soloing monsters is cool to do on your spare time, but man, fighting with the community, helping the community out, that is the best feeling in the world, especially with the goofy stickers and the funny things that people say when mounted. I mean, it's a good time all the way around. And then when you set a bomb up, you say something, like there's so much fun to be had. Let's keep going.
In Wilds outside of the open beta test. But I'm told you'll be able to play through the story with friends without the roadblocks encountered in World, which is the most important factor to me.
That's so awesome. So no roadblocks in this gameplay, meaning you don't have to see the game. So here's the biggest thing, what she's trying to say. Monster Hunter World was awesome, a prolific game. But whenever you're trying to help one of your buddies, they had to go get the cutscene first. So what I taught the newer people that were kind of scared of the monster, I'd say, as soon as you get in there, put on your ghillie mantle. Don't fight it, just put on your ghillie mantle and run away from it. I will join you, then we'll hunt it together. But yeah, that was a roadblock that really persisted throughout a lot of the gameplay of Monster Hunter World. You had to go see the cutscene before you could join, and that was the hardest part, and it made me and my brother Chris, who got me into Monster Hunter long time ago, he literally is like, dude, this sucks. I have to go get the cutscene before you can even join. But you see, I was always making weapons, so I was always at the workshop making a new weapon to play. Like, I didn't just have great swords. I would get a sword and shield. I'd get a hunting horn. I'd get all the goodies. And so I was always in the workshop. So while he was going for the cutscene, I would be doing that. But shout out, brother Chris.
Impressive variety of monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds, both in appearance and behavior, and the environments I've seen have so much attention to detail that it's clear
10 out of 10.
How much care the developers put into the series. This is especially so after speaking with them about it. Truthfully, I could yap about Monster Hunter for days, but I'll leave it at this. I can't.
For days, I can talk about Monster Hunter all day, every day, but that's me. I got a brother from this franchise. You know, me and Chris, we weren't really good friends at first. We were just acquaintances, you know, friends of a friend. But when he saw me playing Monster Hunter on the PSP, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, I'll never forget it. He goes, "What is that?" I go, "Monster Hunter." He goes, "Can I play?" I said, "Of course." Next week, he had a PSP and we were doing couch co-op. And even with Monster Hunter World, we would set up 2 TV screens just to play together, couch co-op style. 2 Xboxes, 2 PlayStations, whatever you want to say. But we always had that couch co-op, even in Monster Hunter World, which is just hilarious. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, guys. Do you agree with a lot of the things she's saying? As veterans, we should be helping out the community. We should enjoy hunting with the community, really. If you guys are interested in learning any weapons, I'm always down to hunt with you guys. My PSN is Drakeshot Plays. And with crossplay, it doesn't matter. Monster Hunter Wilds will be able to play. It doesn't matter where you're at. So shout out. Please like and subscribe. Share the channel with a friend. And as always, take care.